and welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean,
Chris,
Lee.
How are we all feeling after our week off last week when there was no news? Some news, little news, no race to preview.
yeah, it's been a quiet start to the season, hasn't it? Having the 2 weekends off in between races, it feels, I think after last year when all the races were crammed in, it feels a bit quiet yet, but pacing ourselves.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the season's actually starting properly now this weekend.
Yeah, but I've seen people giving F1, banter, shit. I don't know what you want to call it, but how dare they have 3 weeks between the first race and the second race? It's ridiculous. Well, you kind of got to remember that COVID still played a part in this, in that the Chinese Grand Prix got cancelled. Australia
didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Australia's been kicked to the back end of the season, so it's not F1 are doing the best with what they've got, and to go 3 weeks from a Middle East race into a European part of the season, when they're trying to squeeze 23 races into a year, it doesn't matter to me. To be perfectly honest, I'm okay with a 3-week break.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I want a Grand Prix. I wanted a Grand Prix immediately, but we had so much racing last year that some time between races will be nice.
Yeah,
agreed.
I mean, we can't do a lot outside at the moment, but it's good to know that weekends can actually happen where we're not tied to the telly all the time. Purely my opinion. So we have the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix.
Oh no, it's so much more than that. What's the full name of this one?
It's got a ridiculously long
astonishing
name.
Let me find the full name of this race. It will fill half the podcast.
That's good, because we'll have material for this week. First show in a while without a guest as well.
Sorry, a cat has just stamped on me while I'm trying to look into the full name.
He's now stamping on another cat behind you.
Of this race.
It's in there somewhere.
It is. The issue here is that I cannot spell GP. Which is somewhat troubling.
That's tricky.
So this is the 2021 Pirelli Gran Premio del Made in Italy e dell'Emilia Romagna.
Bloody hell.
Yes. So Pirelli, Made in Italy, whatever the fuck that is, and Emilia Romagna.
Crying out loud. Right, okay. So we've got all the words Grand Prix this weekend.
Imola.
I'm going to call it Imola.
I am also going to call it Imola.
Do you know what? I think we all are, aren't we?
San Marino.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't brought back the San Marino name, to be honest. Yeah.
San Marino government, wasn't it? But clearly not.
Then again, it's TV rights, isn't it? That's why we only had one British Grand Prix last year and a 70th anniversary Grand Prix, and
yeah.
Austria and Styria. It's advertising, it's TV rights, it's money.
I'm absolutely not going to miss not going to the same track 2 weeks on the bounce.
Yes.
Although bring back the Squoval.
Yeah, but that wasn't the same track. That was
True.
the same, facility, but 2 different tracks.
And under the old days of F1, we'd have probably got the bloody endurance circuit.
Ooh.
Nobody wants that to happen. We will have a fuller preview of the show, but I guess we've got a couple of weeks worth of news. Well, a week and a bit's worth of news to catch up on, because there wasn't a lot last week. First thing I've got on the list is the chance of a Miami Grand Prix rearing its head again. And it's the second of the options that they came up with, which is round the Hard Rock Stadium area, home of the Miami Dolphins, or better known as the 5 and 7 Miami Dolphins, because they usually are at some point of the season. I'll probably get shouted at for that, won't I?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Do we have a lot of Miami fans?
I don't know if they have. But yeah, it's going to be round the stadium end of things. Lee, you've been looking at this, and doesn't look like it's really going to kick off anyway,
No.
is it?
Anyone that's already listened to Hot Lap knows I'm scared to even talk about this because I referred to it as the fucking Miami Californian Grand Prix. I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. You've already got like a protest group that's looking into challenging it, and do we need it? Do we need a race there? I know you agree with me, don't you, Paul? At the Indianapolis, we should just go back there.
Go back to Indy. That's a great circuit, and they've made a few little tweaks to it as well. And watching IndyCar racing there, and even all right, I've changed my opinions on this sport a lot over the last 12 months. Even the NASCAR road racing's been quite good. It's a good circuit. And Indy is really the home of American motorsport. Probably going to get shouted at for that as well.
I don't see a problem with having 2 races in America. I really don't. It's a growing market. They do the US. Well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they do the US Grand Prix extremely well. I know Circuit of the Americas has struggled a little bit financially over the last few years, but to me, it's the best Tilcadrome. It's the owners that have made it such a massive event in the middle of Texas. Not in the middle of Texas, slightly south Texas, but It's a great race to watch as well. The circuit is good. The racing's usually pretty good at Circuit of the Americas. It's a really good advertisement for Formula One in the United States. As I say, I'd quite like to see another race in America.
I mean, it used to be a thing because they used to have Watkins Glen and Long Beach in the same season.
Yeah, but my slight caveat to that is, can they do it as well as the Texans?
Which is why Indy is the ideal spot for it, because they've got a purpose-built circuit that was designed, the road layout was designed for F1.
And it's not the same though, is it, when it was last time they raced there?
No, they made some changes, but it's still FIA A-class. So the facilities there, the infrastructure's there. It's not a Tilkerized street circuit because, to be honest, if we get this Miami one, it's gonna be Sochi.
Very
Sochi
possibly
in Florida,
California.
California, Florida.
Yeah, it's like that Dead Kennedy song, Florida Ruberallas. Loved that one.
I put it down to a slight lockdown breakdown, and just the lack of speaking to other people. My brain stopped working.
But yeah, if we do get that race round a stadium, we've already got one like that, and it's not exactly what you'd call a thriller.
No.
No. Plus, it's the way that the Circuit of the Americas is, as I say, it's close to a vibrant city in Austin. They make an event of it in the city as well as around the circuit. It's one of the ones, as I've said many times before, I'd really love to go like the week before, soak it all up and then be at the race weekend. I think tickets go on sale, don't they, for this year's race at the end of the month? I saw something.
Yeah, just to show we're not going to be allowed to leave the island until September.
Yeah. Well, it's not until later than that, isn't it? November, I think. So we'll see. Unlikely this year, let's be honest. But it's just for America to put that on twice and to do it as well as they do in Austin might you don't want to put on an event that's not as good as that if it's a second event.
I think the main problem with it, if they have the Miami Grand Prix and turn it into a sort of massive party over the whole week, then you're going to get some drunken, shirtless, backwards, baseball-hatted college student asleep in the middle of the track when they're trying to do FP1.
Spring break!
And for a fact that the support act every year is going to be bloody Kid Rock.
No, Pitbull. Pitbull's always like floating around in
it'll
Miami.
It'll be half time.
Ah.
It'll be half time, looking like a chauffeur. Come on, you've got to admit, Pitbull looks like a chauffeur.
I to be perfectly honest, mate, he could be stood in my room and I'd go, "Who are you and why are you in my house?"
And why
He's
are you
Mr.
wearing
Worldwide.
why are you wearing a peak cap and driving gloves?
Lost on me that, and I'm fucking made up for it.
You don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, I've never wanted to not be involved in a joke so much in my life.
No, just go to guyswholooklikeChauffeurs.com and there'll be a picture of him.
That cannot be a real website.
Could be
We're
by
going
the,
to check it out right now.
could be by the time this podcast comes out. You know, I can do web design. So, votes for and votes against Miami.
I think
I've-
rather than being
It's
for or against Miami, it just has to be a good race. It doesn't matter if it's the second race in a country or which city it's in, as long as the race is good. And I'm not convinced, for various reasons, that it will be a good race.
I'd allow it.
Yeah.
I'd allow it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So, the thing is, there's so many other countries that want to jump on the bandwagon of Formula One. It's every year we seem to hear about another new race somewhere that could possibly happen. I don't. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel like Miami particularly want to have a race. They're not clamoring for it, and I'm sure there's another country like somewhere in the Middle East somewhere with a ridiculous bank balance that are quite happy to host one.
I think South Africa's the hot rumour as well at the moment, isn't
No,
it?
they can't have one. They can't have one. They've improved the human rights record.
Oh, I see.
Too soon?
Yeah, because they haven't.
Again, the show doesn't come out until Tuesday. You never know. Things change quickly. Unless you're a patron, of course, then you should get it Monday night if I can be bothered mixing it, which I can. Kyle Army's now on the verge of getting the FIA accreditation because Charlie Whiting visited the circuit just not long before he died and told them what they needed, and apparently that's been put in place now. And as soon as travel's allowed again, I think they're probably going to get re-rated.
Yeah, I think Stefano Domenicali has said it's one of his priorities to make sure there is a race in Africa. That doesn't necessarily mean Kyle Army. There are other countries, but that would be the most obvious choice, you would think.
They won't have to spend as much on doing Kyle Army up as they would on building something somewhere else. I mean, there's still...
Yeah, no, I think they are talking about Kyle Army. That's the one. I mean, I think the last time they raced there was the opening round of the '93 season. I think was the last time they raced there.
We need Sean. I'm that used to having guests on here. I'm waiting for an expert to come in and say, well, actually, it was...
Waiting for someone who knows what's happening to come in and tell us the right answer.
Guys Who Look Like Chauffeurs is not a website, by the way.
Oh, there's an opportunity.
You're more on the ball than I am at the minute, Chris. Yeah, I mean, there's there.
Morocco have had a Formula E, haven't they?
Yeah,
recently, so maybe they have the motorsport bug. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a piddly
They
little
have
street
since the
circuit.
first season, haven't they?
In Formula E.
Yeah, I think so. I think since the first season, Morocco have had a
I thought they'd had a couple.
season. I think.
No,
I seem to remember them.
No, I do
Morocco one.
seem to recall Morocco. I remember watching the Moroccan E-Prix where it was the first one to have the Mario Kart zone. So that was definitely a thing. Obviously, Portugal's now back on the calendar, and it looks like Portimao could well be for the next few years. Will we ever see a race at Vietnam?
I don't think so.
I don't want to see a race at Vietnam. I've played the circuit on Formula 1 2020. It is the worst racetrack I've ever seen.
I'd agree. I hate that circuit when you get to it on the game. It's just rubs.
Yeah.
I've not even got that far into the game. I've not even driven it once.
Yeah,
It's only like the third or fourth race of the season, isn't it?
I know. I did FP1 and FP2 in Australia, and then got bored.
Oddly enough, I'd go back to that game, mate, because I'm pretty far into a championship now, and I went through F2 as well to get into it, and she's a good game. She's good career mode.
I've been spending too much time on iRacing, and I've just got Assetto Corsa and R-Factor 2 as well, and Automobilista 2. I'm simmed
I have a claim to fame.
Oh.
I have a claim to fame when it comes to the Formula 1 2020 game. This last week, I was looking at the F2 2020 cars, which they've put on the game, and there was no times set in time trial mode for the wet, short Britain circuit. So I was the first person to set a time on the Silverstone short in the wet.
Right, get the wheel hooked up to the PlayStation. Let's see what I can do.
Somebody needed to pick me up that day, didn't they?
Yeah.
This is what lockdown has become when you're finding sort of bizarre configurations of track and weather just to top the timesheets.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about doing Formula Lee again at some point.
Yeah, we forgot all about it, didn't we?
Well, there was all the problems with the game last year.
Yeah, I think they're still there as well, aren't they?
So I think we're gonna have to. The time trial cheats. I think we're gonna have to abandon it for this version of the game and maybe look at it again next year.
Yeah.
Hashtag Formula Lee yes or hashtag Formula Lee no. Cast your vote now.
Fair enough. We'll do that.
I felt like we were waiting then.
Yeah, I felt like it was sort of a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire moment where the audience are all casting their vote, and then we'll see a graph.
Yeah, we're not live streaming tonight because I can't find a way of getting the new desk through Discord with all the channels because I can only hear one microphone. So
it's because things like that are fucking rubbish. I spent £160 or whatever it is on StreamYard to find out that you can only use one microphone through it. Great.
Because everybody wants to listen to a show that's just comprised of one person talking with lots of gaps in between.
That's not a show, that's a monologue.
Right, what's next on the list? Albert Park. That has been reconfigured, and apparently it's going to knock 2.5 seconds off the lap time.
5?
5 was
Five
it?
is what the official Formula 1 website says.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's been some significant changes to the circuit. Widening of some corners, but the most interesting one for me is the straightening out of turns. I think it's 6 and 7, and then like getting rid of the chicane before the straight. So straight out of like the first sector, you've then got basically the whole of the back of the circuit, which is full throttle. But not straight.
So I see, yeah, they've taken the turn 9 and 10 chicane out.
Yeah.
And it just goes from 8 to 11. And, yeah, 13...
But you're pretty much flat as soon as you come out of 6. So
I'm a fan.
It's going to be... Yeah, I am. And Daniel Ricciardo, obviously being the only Australian driver, asked what he thought about it. He thought the changes were positive and were going to promote some what I think he said, pretty cool racing.
Yeah, because it has been a track that has lacked the good sort of on track overtaking stuff really the last few years. I think that's the one thing that really always seems to let Australia down a bit.
But I think that's a little bit to do with where it's always been placed as the first race of the season. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, you don't always get a good race at the first race of the season. There's plenty of retirements. People are still trying new stuff out. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But yeah, it's not a track that lends itself to a lot of overtaking, and putting it at the first race of the season a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Just feels a little bit like not even double-edged sword. It's getting punched twice in the face.
So hopefully this year, later in the calendar, with these sort of tweaked corners, could be a good one.
Yeah, so there's 3, 4, 5 corners been widened and 2 removed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it actually looks like you can get a good run from turn 5, a little bit of a braking zone into 6 and 7, and then just gun it all the way round the back straight. Well, straight with the curve in it. The bit that I always call the Jacques Villeneuve section, because that's where his rear wing fell off in the 99 version.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the rear wing didn't just sort of stall; the whole rear wing assembly fell off.
No. Well, that's
I
problematic.
remember Michael Schumacher doing that some years ago when he was driving before he was world champion in the Benetton. He was just driving down the straight and his rear wing came off.
Wasn't that David Coulthard? Oh no, sorry. No, it was Coulthard's rear wing that Schumacher took off in Belgium.
Oh, that was in Belgium. Yeah, no, that was. I'm talking like I'm going back early '90s, like '92, possibly '93. Schumacher just minding his own business, driving down the straight, and his rear wing came off and threw him into the gravel.
Gonna have to get in touch with Duke Video. I'm gonna have to order some of the old season review DVDs. I used to have them all on VHS back in the day. In fact, I probably should get in touch with Duke Video and see if they want to provide some competition prizes. That'd be a good idea.
That would be.
Do they still do the Formula One stuff?
Yeah, they've still got the rights to the season review videos.
Wow.
Yeah, a bit of the other Isle of Man F1 connection.
Yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, don't forget the fact Nigel Mansell used to have Isle of Man Bank on his overalls because they sponsored him.
Yeah, but Isle of Man
Personally.
Bank isn't that connected to the Isle of Man anymore.
No.
Not now it is. No, but back in the 80s it was.
Don't forget, Jordan had a plaque here. There was a plaque.
There's the departure lounge at the Isle of Man Airport that Mansell opened. There's a plaque to say that.
He's also still a patron of Ramsey Golf Club as well.
Oh,
There you go. You see, Isle of Man,
endless connections.
Isle of Man, all you need for F1. Right, consult the running order.
All you need for F1. You mean Nigel Mansell?
Which, if you watch any British coverage of F1 in the 80s and early 90s, yeah, that was all you got.
Pretty much.
Hulk next. Double duty for Hulkenbach. Because he's now the official Aston Martin reserve driver, as well as the official Mercedes reserve driver.
Mercedes and Aston Martin reserve driver, is it?
Yeah, I think it's buy a Mercedes engine.
I didn't know he was with Mercedes as well.
Yeah, buy a Mercedes engine, get a free Hulkenberg.
So is this because Stoffel and Nick De Vries are doing a full Formula E season, and the mixing of the bubbles and also the 2 full seasons running together quite often lends itself to not having a driver free?
And because after last time they needed a driver and they didn't get either of them, there's more chance of me getting into a Mercedes than either of them.
Yeah, I mean, Hulk is the official Mercedes reserve driver, but we all know who's going to be driving a Mercedes if Hamilton or Bottas can't.
Yeah.
But as for Aston Martin, there are theories.
I mean, he saw a bit of action with them last year in their previous guys.
And he's been, he was a Force India driver before.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
Yeah.
he's good. He's used to the Silverstone team. But is there really a question mark hanging over Vettel? Is he going to walk?
I think there has to be one. No, but there has to be a question mark, doesn't there? We'll know this weekend. I think that'll be sorted out pretty quickly whether things are going to change for him.
I mean, Helmut Marko said last week he should have taken this year off.
I agree with him.
Was it a 2-year deal Vettel signed with them?
I believe so.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he... I would be surprised if he didn't see the deal out. But I also think that... he can't continue being broken Ferrari Vettel at Aston Martin His performance in the first race, okay, he was unlucky, but you do kind of make your own luck. And Seb in in the early Ferrari and Red Bull days would have started at the back of the grid and been fifth by the end of like lap 3. Mm-hmm. So I like Seb. I want him to do well with Aston Martin. But come on, like time is going to run out for him. We've only had. It seems really unfair to say that because we've only had one race this year. It's not looking great for him, is it?
No. Well, the problem I had was it's been the interviews with him. He's still been broken Ferrari Vettel in the interviews, and I don't know where that's fixed then, because he shouldn't, even if he hasn't performed well, you'd think just getting out of that Ferrari atmosphere and getting himself into a new team, he would at least be like energized because of that. But he you can tell when Vettel's not doing well because he comes across as arrogant, and I don't think he is arrogant, but he's very sharp. Doesn't really want to give much away. There's a lot of like screwing of his face up and looking past the interviewer. And it was the same thing. He was just wearing a different colour.
Yeah.
I mean, even at the launch, he wasn't his usual Seb self.
No, I think he was a lot happier at the Aston Martin launch. He was the only human.
That's the thing, though. There wasn't a great deal to compare him with because, I mean, Lawrence Stroll, for all his qualities, isn't media friendly.
He's not a sort of presenter.
No, you wouldn't. He won't get his own Saturday night variety show. Let's put it
Christ,
that way.
could you imagine that?
Lance, I think, has a lot of his father's personality there.
Lance is a lot less threatening.
I think Lance comes across as quite a good guy.
Comes across as a good guy, but not. He could do with a little bit more media training.
When you've got that much money, you don't need media training. Do you know what I thought was amazing?
But when you're an F1 driver, unless you're Kimi, you do.
But what I thought was great is if you look at the driver salaries, he's on like 15 million a year. Not only is it not enough that his father buys a Formula One team and gives him a drive, he has to pay him 15 million a year at the same time.
Yeah,
apparently he took a massive cut in his pocket money to sign that contract.
That's probably a tax write-off, isn't it, for Lawrence?
I must admit, I did think, that seems suspect.
That's some accountancy going on there, I think.
Again, you don't become that rich without a good accountant. Who is at least 10% as rich as you, if not more. But yeah, I mean, we saw broken Vettel last time out, and what happens this weekend, is it fair to say determines the rest of Seb's season? If he gets broken for his first 2 races with a new team.
No, I don't think it's that early. Not in a 23 race season. But at the same time, you got to make the most of a new, fresh start. If he was a young driver, you'd say, "Oh, fair enough. He's a young lad. He's just switched teams." But I mean, that's the only excuse you can really think of for him. Is it? It's always he's had one race with his new team.
Carlos Sainz seemed fairly happy for his first race in his new team.
And so did Daniel Ricciardo. So the excuses only carry you so far. Like I say, I really like Sebastian Vettel, and I think he deserves another shot at success. And I want him to be successful at Aston Martin, but he's got to start putting Lance Stroll away. He's been signed because you could argue that had Aston Martin held on to Perez and Stroll this season, they would have had a better result in Bahrain than what Vettel gave them.
So, in some respects, I find the new driver into a team thing a little bit of a scapegoat sometimes, because let's just say, like, for shits and giggles, Hamilton retired last year and Mercedes took on Max Verstappen. would we be going, oh, well, he probably can't win this World Championship in his first year. It is his first year with a new team. No, you'd expect Max Verstappen to go in that team and start winning races from the very first time we got in it. So someone like Sebastian Vettel, you expect him to get in the car and at least perform to what that car can do, and then essentially push it a bit further up than what it can be. I mean, if he gets outpaced by Stroll, he's fucked, isn't he?
It's not a great look for him.
No, it's not a great look because he's essentially like Lance can hold his own. We know that he's done okay in his couple of seasons with Checo Perez, but I mean Vettel is supposed to be on another level. Vettel's a 4-time world champion, the youngest world champion ever, the only guy to have ever won 9 consecutive races. So, you know, he knows how to be dominant. And he, at the moment, some years after that period, now can't even get on top of his teammate. Again, it seems so unfair to say this because we've only had one race this year. But, yeah, we can't... The easy way to put it is we can't see Bahrain Vettel for the rest of the season.
I've just worked out who Lance Stroll is. He's the spiritual successor to Pedro Diniz.
Oh no! Come on! He's a better driver than Diniz was.
No, he's fine. He gets the car around the track, and he's got loads of money to buy a seat.
And with the money that family brings into the team, they're
going to buy Damon Hill for a year.
Former world champion. Yeah, actually. Yeah, I still think Stroll's a slightly better driver than Diniz was.
Just wait for the Hungarian Grand Prix when Vettel leads it somehow. We have no idea how Vettel's leading the Hungarian Grand Prix. And then he slows down and Hamilton passes him on the last lap.
Oh no!
Oh God, no! I don't want 1997 all over again. Liam being inconsolable.
I couldn't handle it.
Classic race, though.
And then of course Villeneuve took the win in '97 and released an album. Maybe Lewis will release his on the back of the win at Hungary this year.
He did put some of his music on Instagram
after that race.
It wasn't after the race. I don't think it was all that long after. I don't know when Private Paradise came out. And
I thought that was like not post Formula One, but like I thought it was like post. You know, definitely not going to win any more races. Villeneuve.
Hang on a second. I shall. Are you googling?
I am googling.
I feel this is inconsequential to the world of Formula One.
I feel like I'm kind of surprised we don't already know this off the top of our head.
But Lee, you quite like Jacques Villeneuve and his,
It was 2007.
That's later than I thought.
10 years later.
2007. It sold 233 copies in the entire province of Quebec, and about 30 outside Quebec.
I'm a great admirer of anybody who has the ability to boil piss. That's why
you know what? Sorry, go on. Continue. Sorry, Lee.
That's why I feel so bad about how I treated Rosberg all those years. I didn't realise he had the piss boil potential in him.
Well, he got your goat enough.
I know, but no.
Yes.
That was only when he was being like snidey, but now he's ace. I really like him.
If
we
anyone
relaunch our campaign for the Canadian Grand Prix.
Oh no, the Jacques Attack.
Yeah.
Should we relaunch Jacques Attack?
No, let's not relaunch that.
Yes.
Because all the game was because we're not going to get it to chart. We don't have that reach. So all our game does is
matter.
Let's make a rich Canadian slightly richer. That's all we're doing. Only ever so slightly rich.
Let's confuse him.
Okay.
Because no, right. You know what? I'm going on Spotify. Give me a moment. Everybody, talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm doing some research.
Well, I mean, the number of people that can make Spotify at the end of every year, they send you the thing. You know, these are your most listened to songs of the year and most listened to artists, and you get your end of year wrap up. And the number of people that got in touch with us and said that "Fooling Around" was their most played song of 2019.
That is their fault, not ours.
It was mine as well. It was the
thing.
Jacques Villeneuve on Spotify has 1,372 listeners monthly.
And they're all from us.
That's like saying, what did you do last year? I spent loads of family time. It was dead nice. And then it turns out you're Joseph Fritzl. It's not good.
Lee, you're outvoted. Jacques Attack 2021. We've done it once, we'll do it again.
I feel like I've been fritzled.
Don't say it, baby. Shall we talk about George Russell instead, then?
Let's.
Right. He has replaced Romain Grosjean as the director of the Grand Prix Drivers Association. Although Grosjean is staying on in a safety capacity.
Yikes.
Well, he's tested all the safety devices on that car, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Wait a second, this is the same Romain Grosjean who's just driven an RV across America to get to a race.
Yes.
No, it's the same Romain Grosjean that's driven an RV across America to get to a test.
Was it a test?
Yeah.
Even worse.
They haven't even had the first race yet. That's this weekend as well. So George Russell obviously turned up with his laptop and a PowerPoint and said to the Grand Prix Drivers Association, I should be a director, and here are 37 compelling reasons why, one per slide. That guy has got a very mature head on young shoulders.
He has. He's very good in front of the media as well, as we've said before. And the aforementioned Sebastian Vettel is the other chairman of the Drivers' Association. And the thinking behind the decision is that George Russell represents the younger generation of drivers that has been coming through in the last few years. And Sebastian Vettel represents the interests of the older drivers that have been around for a number of years now. It's hard to believe, really, that Sebastian Vettel has been 15 years since he made his Formula One debut. But it's true. So yeah, he's no longer the younger, the young driver we all came to know. But I thought it was interesting that they went for Russell. But then when you think about it, who else were they going to go for to represent the younger group? Lando has like a bit of a reputation as like messing around too much.
Couldn't be science because Ferrari don't believe in letting their drivers do anything that isn't 100% controlled by Ferrari. And I don't think the rest of the grid wants a Ferrari driver representing them.
Latifi's too dull.
Vettel was still GPDA
Vettel has been for a little while.
when he was Ferrari driver.
I think Vettel may have become it while he was with Red Bull and possibly had the ability in his negotiations going to Ferrari to say no, not stepping down. Sorry.
Like you say, Latifi is just too dull.
Too dull. Who else is young?
Schumacher and Mazepin are too
not
new. You can't really call them Grand Prix drivers when they've only been in one race.
Yeah, same for Tsunoda.
Pierre Gasly, maybe. Charles Leclerc.
I think you've got to be careful as well, haven't you? Who you pick. You want someone that's like got a long-term future in the sport as well.
That's why that rules instantly a young Red Bull driver out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's a vote of confidence in Russell, really, isn't it? That he's in this role now. I mean, I don't think any of us are particularly worried about his long-term future, but...
I think George is one of the drivers who's going to be around for a while, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he'll be celebrating his 20th anniversary in F1 around about the time that Kimi celebrates his 40th. And he'll be there for Alonso's 5th comeback.
And his 6th World Championship.
Hang on a minute, 2 WECs, 2 F1s. Oh, what are the 2 series is he going to win?
I've got to believe. Got to believe.
Yes, Parappa the Rapper, you do. Right, sprint races. Apparently the deal is very close to being signed for them. The teams are wanting more money, because obviously it's more participation, and guarantees that they weren't going to be financially penalised if they had to spend more due to damage on the cars under racing conditions. Because it's an extra 300 kilometres, so that's effectively one extra race that these sprint races are going to take up. Now, apparently, the final thing.
More importantly, extra starts as well. It might be one extra race sort of distance, but it's the starts where you're going to have the comings together, isn't it?
Usually is, yeah. So apparently, there's going to be an extra around about $500,000 on offer for the teams, and other guarantees in true F1 style behind a non-disclosure agreement. Should anyone get the car wrecked on a Saturday lunchtime. Still no word, though, on engine components, because they're now forcing an engine to do an extra... Well, a full set of powertrain components to do an extra race. But
everyone's in the same boat, though, aren't they? Everyone's in the same boat. As long as there's something there to cover the finances of it, if people are going to have to take penalties at some point anyway. I mean, to be perfectly honest, would it not make if your penalties carried into the sprint race, would it not be a good idea to do it before the sprint race?
I guess it would in some ways. I mean, there's gonna be loopholes in there that every team's loophole engineer is going to be able to find.
Yeah, but, I mean, if they're only going to have a sporadic number of sprint races, unless they carry it through into a newer formula, then you might have to wait a long time to get the penalty to be installed before a sprint race.
Yeah, because it's going to be Silverstone, Monza, and Interlagos this season.
Yeah,
the 3 that they've chosen. With, if they work, more next year. Now, is that going to be all of them? Is it going to be half of them? Is it?
I think it has to be all or none.
Yeah, I think I agree with Lee on that one. You can't just have you can trial it. Trial basis is fine, but then you can't just say, "Oh well, we don't like the idea of sprint races, so we'll have a traditional Grand Prix weekend." Whereas somebody else can be like, "Oh yeah, you can't pick and choose."
If it was Formula Lee World, I'd have sprint races at every Grand Prix. I've always been a proponent for the sprint races.
Even Monaco.
No, because I would make it a non-championship event.
Well, that'd suit because every year it becomes less and less of a race.
I think Monaco should be scrapped from the calendar. It's now not just the worst race in Formula One calendar. Monaco is the worst motor race in the world. It's the most boring.
Is it more boring than the French Grand Prix?
Yes.
That is bold.
Because at least at the French Grand Prix, you can't overtake on the cornery bits, but at least there's a chance you can use the DRS there. Monaco isn't even big enough for the DRS to work.
They're building more of it.
More of Monaco.
Yeah, they're extending out to sea. They're doing like a load of reclaimed land.
Oh, well, maybe that's the thing then. Well,
that could be the saving grace.
It's still narrow though, isn't it? It's still too narrow for Formula One cars, and it pains me to say, because what I do appreciate about Monaco is the concentration it must take to do that race. It's an endurance event. It's not like a sprint race, which is what Formula One it usually is.
Have you ever tried to do 78 laps of Monaco on a PlayStation without
Absolutely
touching the
not.
barriers.
No, I can't. I can't even do like the 25% race without touching the barriers. The fucking
Exactly.
the rewind button is so worn out on that controller by the time I finish that race.
It looks like you've been watching porn.
No, that's slow mo. That's slow mo pause and zoom.
I mean, was the calendar worse off last year for not having Monaco on it?
Gotta admit,
No.
didn't miss it.
I can't remember thinking, oh no Monaco.
Even Monaco looks good. People turn around and say about the glamour of Monaco. But to me, when you see Monaco on television now, it doesn't look glamorous. I mean, obviously, you got the big boats there. Very cool. Everyone likes a million and upwards, like launch floating around the place.
Judging by the
actual place.
Judging by the number of pictures of that bloody yacht from last weekend all over Facebook, yes.
I know, yeah, it was that was pretty crazy. I mean, I did go for a look at it, but I didn't feel the need to put a picture on social media about it. But yeah, the actual place itself, there's no glamour there in Monaco now. It looks like every street in a 1980s porn film.
Which one?
All of them.
I meant which film, not which street.
All of the films.
No, it's not the sort of. I mean, I suppose when the Monaco Grand Prix started, it was a different era. It was it was the 50s, and it was French but not French and exotic, and it had a Hollywood star ruling it, and blah 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 blah. And now it's just somewhere for Saudi Arabian businessmen to funnel the cash. Other Arabian billionaires are available.
Yeah, it's time it was retired, I'm afraid.
I like the idea of it being a non-championship race, though. But I mean, the big thing about Monaco is, and this is what's happened over the last 10 years, is all the deals that are arranged in Monaco, business-wise, are then signed off in Singapore.
Yeah. It's a big business thing as well, isn't it? When it comes to Formula One, come to the Monaco Grand Prix, and sponsorship deals are done there, and external business deals are done there, and it's important for the economy of Formula One. I think that the Monaco Grand Prix takes place, and you do get drama, but what you don't get is racing. A lot of the time, I mean, we can remember Charles Leclerc raced.
Nope.
And that was,
you're back.
yeah.
You disappeared then. You got a
back.
spell.
Yeah, after Charles Leclerc, you cut out.
Were you going through the tunnel?
No, he went for an overtake and it didn't work. And, that's what happens when you race at Monaco. You crash.
Yeah, I mean, it might work well for lower formulas, slightly slower, narrower cars, but other than that, it's kind of the why is F1 doing this? I guess we've said this enough over the last few years. I mean, are there any great Monaco Grand Prix that instantly spring to mind from the last 10 years? We'll say.
Last year's one, not last year. The last one that they held there was pretty good, with Verstappen hounding Hamilton in the final few laps. But it wasn't because if anybody can make a pass, stick on Lewis Hamilton in Monaco, you think probably Max Verstappen, but it never materialised. And I think that's the problem. You get the hounding, you get the excitement, and then especially with this era of Formula One cars, they follow for like 3 laps. And then they're like, I'm too warm. I've got to back off 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the only two sort of other major events that spring to mind with me both happened in the pits. The Ricciardo pit stop where the tyres weren't ready, and Hamilton pitting when there was the big safety car snarled up in 2016.
Yeah, but that's not racing, is it? It's drama.
Like I said,
it's dramatic.
I didn't say they were racing. They are the only sort of two main events that spring to mind over the last few years of Monaco. And again,
I guess so.
The racing takes sort of pretty much second place. We'll stick on Mercedes actually. James Allison with his upwards move, not going to be travelling to races as much, and not being. Well, he was chief technical officer for the team. He's now technical director for Mercedes.
All the way around.
He's now chief technical officer for Mercedes, the team, and the engine manufacturer. So I think they've given him all of Oxfordshire or something.
Yeah, nearly. It's not a day-to-day job. It's not a he doesn't have to travel to be at the races all the time. A lot of people were not confused, but sort of like a little bit shocked that it looked like that they given one of their most important guys, a sort of backroom office job. Whereas, if you remember his time at Ferrari, I think he had some family troubles. Did his wife die?
Yeah.
So he wanted to spend more time at home with the kids, which is totally understandable. Ferrari then gave him a long period of gardening leave, and he joined Mercedes. Maybe it's just that. The timing does seem a little strange, though. Sort of one race in. I think, Lee, you were mentioning that pre-podcast, weren't you?
Yeah, it seems odd to me because if it's obvious that if you've got an underperforming team like Mercedes, and then you go and take your chief designer and shuffle him around, give him a move sideways or backwards or upwards, whichever way it actually ends up being. It looks like you're going to cause speculation. You're going to cause idiots like me to go, well, hang on a second. Has he been moved around because he's done a bad job of making the car? It doesn't feel on the level to me. It doesn't feel right. What it could be is they've decided they need some new blood in the team as far as towards development of the 2020 car. They didn't want James Allison in the role he was in, and his job is essentially the same type of thing as what Red Bull did. Do you remember? When Red Bull allowed Adrian Newey off to go and build boats and do whatever he wanted to do, because they just wanted him to sign a long-term contract with them because it was worth them paying all the money to him to stop him being with another team. This, to me, makes me wonder whether this job was put in place to stop Allison going to another team.
It also means if they lift him slightly out of the specific F1 stuff and more into group stuff, like Mercedes group stuff, then his salary wouldn't count towards the salary cap.
That's a good call. Because I would imagine an Allison comes with a price tag.
I can't imagine he's cheap.
Yeah, he's just designed the last few World Championship winning cars.
You'd imagine he's getting paid.
Yeah. Now, if he is...
Officially, I think as well, he doesn't take up the new job until July. So I think he may still be popping up at races until then.
Ah, right. So they can write off some of his salary from the salary cap.
Yes.
Yeah, so if he's running the engine thing, well, as Mercedes have tried to say for every summer break, as long as they've been a team, Brixworth is completely separate because that's Mercedes AMG engine manufacturer. It's not part of the racing team. Therefore, we can keep working.
They are made different factories, aren't they? So
yeah, they don't have a summer shutdown because Mercedes, the Formula One team, is only the de facto works team of Mercedes, the engine manufacturer. Oh look, they found a loophole.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh God, who'd have thought? Which I'm pretty sure Red Bull will be following the same one from next year onwards.
Oh, Red Bull have already formed Red Bull Powertrains Limited, official company, separate from Red Bull Racing.
There you go.
Well, it's in a separate building, but it's on the campus, isn't it? So they might not get away with that. I don't know.
It is a separate legal entity with all the same directors as Red Bull Racing.
The problem is, though, Milton Keynes is just one giant campus.
Milton Keynes is not the place I would ever want to revisit.
Milton Keynes was odd.
Yeah,
Very.
Everything's in shopping centres, and we got to see a car crash.
I was amazed how many homeless people were there.
Well,
Like under all the bridges and stuff like that.
I mean,
Amazed.
that's the thing with it being all sort of the grid road system and the pavements being below road level and all the underpasses. There was tents under every underpass.
Yeah. It had a big RoboCop vibe as well. Dystopian future type sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, remember we got funny looks when we tried to cross a road because we weren't going underneath it, we were going on top of it, and there was drivers going past going, pedestrians, what are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like we should have hired segways to get from the station to the top end of town.
It was quite the walk we had. In hindsight, a Segway would have been pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I will admit, you could have done with transport. The problem was with everything being sort of segmented there. We weren't in the taxi rank district.
No.
Because all the pubs were in one bit, all the supermarkets were in one bit, all the sort of general shops were in one bit, and all the offices were in one bit. And I think they had the taxi ranks separated as well, so they were nowhere near the train station. I think all the
I found a 24-hour Tesco's in Milton Keynes that closed at 4 p.m.
What is this witchcraft?
24 hours, but not on Sundays.
4 p.m. is not outrageously late for like a non-24-hour supermarket, even on a Sunday.
It's like a 7-Eleven having to print their opening hours on the door. Actually, there used to be a 7-Eleven in Leicester Square in London that closed at midnight.
Rebels.
7:12.
Yeah. Should we go back to talking about whatever's on the list? I think we've covered everything there. Right. The Imola Grand Prix.
Not the Imola Grand Prix.
Well, not the
It's got a stupid name.
Yeah.
Pirelli something or other, made in Italy.
What the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix? Yeah, the first of two races in Italy this season. I accidentally called it Monza on Discord last week, and people have been ribbing me about it ever since. Although it's not as bad as saying Miami's in California when you've been. Just waiting for the response on that. So last year did get a bit parady, but there was hope for Williams in it. George Russell was running well until he binned it behind a safety car. Latifi finished 11th. This could we see another race that actually shakes things up a little bit outside the expected top four?
It'd be nice.
It would be. I think I said last year when we had an Emilia Romagna Grand Prix that perhaps Imola, as wonderful a racetrack as it is not suited to modern day Formula One cars that can't really follow can't the turbulent air thing. I don't think Imola is fantastic for that. I think that it should stay on the calendar with the new regulations coming in just to see what the difference is. Because I think you'll see drivers like Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen, there must be others. Charles Leclerc's one who likes to, lick it and send it into hairpins, etc. Much better than as I said before about Monaco, getting close for a few laps, finding out you can't pass on the DRS and then having to back off again, which is what we saw last year.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be, if it stays on the calendar, it'll be interesting next year with the new aero regulations, where obviously the cars are meant to be able to follow each other a lot better without blowing up. Obviously, one thing that happened last year that isn't going to happen this time, we only had the one practice session because it was the 2-day event last season.
So it was.
Of course, yeah, I forgot about that.
Because they'd been in Portugal the week before. So everything, there was nothing on the Friday. Everything happened Saturday, Sunday, just with a 90-minute FP. And
yeah,
then,
the race was on the 1st of November, wasn't it? Because I seem to remember thinking, that might not go well, but actually the weather was fine.
So, again, we're at another circuit that, in F1 terms, we've been at fairly recently, based on the last calendar. It's going to be a tough one to call after Bahrain, because we still don't know who's got the fastest car.
We don't. Mercedes, I think, were very dominant there last year, though, weren't they? It seemed to be a Mercedes-favoured circuit.
Yeah, first and second in qualifying, first and second in the race.
Even with Bottas with that aero thing, somebody's floor stuck to his floor or something, and it caused him a lot of downforce loss. Of course, we know that the new regs for this year mean downforce loss, and Mercedes were still pretty powerful. Although, I don't know, Red Bull, apparently Max Verstappen had issues in Bahrain, which meant he wasn't as fast as he could have been. And Perez did slice up the field, as you'd expect someone in a Red Bull to do. So who knows? Who knows which way it's going to go? It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, after 3 weeks since the last race, I'm just looking forward to anything happening. Are we going to have a go at some predictions?
Christ.
We can give it a go.
Yeah, we should, but
we haven't got a guest predictor this week. But I'll message somebody and get them to join in. I will put the Bahrain ones up on the website at some point. Yeah. Right, who's going?
I've got some.
Oh, okay, go on, Lee.
Verstappen, Hamilton, and Lando.
You're gonna go with Lando in the top 3 all season, aren't you?
Absolutely.
I am going to move my mics in as I'm leaning forward to type. I am going to go for Hamilton, Verstappen. I reckon Perez.
I am going to go for an exact repeat of last year's podium, which I believe was Hamilton, Bottas, Ricciardo.
No Max.
No, he shat himself in Italy constantly last year, and I think it'll give him hoodoo.
He had a tyre blowout on him.
Did he? Yeah, he didn't finish like any of the 3 races in Italy last year, I seem to recall.
No, he didn't.
No.
You changing your prediction?
I will.
Now?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, who's going next?
You're the last one to go.
Oh, am I the last one? I will go Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas.
The predictable 3 just in a change-up order. If you want to put your own predictions in, go on to the website at threelegs4wheels.com, go to the games section, and the prediction league is up there. You got until 5 minutes before Q1 starts on Saturday to do it. You also get to predict pole, fastest lap, number of DNFs or non-classifieds, and whether there'll be a safety car or not. Have a crack at that. See how you get on.
Was that a podcast?
I thought I heard a weird squeaky
No,
noise.
it wasn't. I was trying to open Instagram for a total shunt, but I accidentally opened TikTok.
Oh,
Oops.
right. More Michael McIntyre.
No, not now. I got my comedian mixed up. That's where we got confused. I'm not talking about Michael McIntyre. I'm talking about the other guy. What's his name?
What, of all the other comedians?
No, like deadpan, like just tells like one-liners.
Gary Delaney.
No,
Tim Vine?
no, really famous, stadium famous.
Frankie Boyle?
No, stadium
No,
famous.
he's not one line there.
Stephen Wright?
Milton, what's his face?
Milton Jones?
Oh, carry on. I'm gonna Google British comedians.
Why don't you look at your TikTok and see who you're following?
That's an idea.
Too easy.
Yeah,
I need to know now. This is gonna.
Jimmy Carr.
Oh, right.
He does have very similar hair to Michael McIntyre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
one of the.
I was wondering
That's
why you were
right.
going on about Michael McIntyre being edgy. I was like,
No, and Michael, and he's also a rubbish stand-up comedian, whereas Jimmy Carr, as I was saying before, world class.
Yeah, Jimmy Carr's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jimmy Carr is good. Michael McIntyre, fucking shite.
Not good. Yeah, awful. Yeah, no, but this was all before we started recording the podcast as well, so no one's got a fucking clue what we're talking about.
I think they've probably got the gist.
Which drags it into line with the rest of the podcast.
yeah, pretty much.
And no one's
Make
got a
up
clue
your
what
own
we're talking about,
backstory.
including the people on the podcast.
So, Lee, how's the stand-up comedy career going? You know, you're doing all this research into other comedians.
Oh, it's going fucking great. You know the easiest thing to do to write comedy, the fucking best inspiration you can have to do any of it is to be locked in your house, not able to fucking do anything. I've never felt so fucking creative.
Are you more Jimmy Carr or more Michael McIntyre?
Fucking a more Alan Carr.
You better shunt something then.
Wait!
Who sent this week's in?
I've no idea. There we go. This was sent in by Dylan, who sent it to me on Instagram. It's often I forget about the Instagram ones, but I remembered today. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was born
Yay.
in 1907.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Is it the
One
TT?
for Paul. Sorry?
Is it the TT?
The TT, yeah.
I was a key developer of the BMW 328.
Okay.
Right.
My racing career originated on motorbikes, originated on motorbikes, winning 8 German motorcycling world championships between 1930 and 1938. So all of them in that period.
So I'm guessing it was someone German.
I suspect it might be a German.
I'd like a guess, please.
Yeah, I'll bet you would. How are we on pre-war German motorcyclists?
Not
I know a couple of-
ideal.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of motorcyclists who rode at the TT. One of which being Carl Gall. So we could go for Carl Gall. I think he died actually crashing over here.
This rings. Yeah, that is a vaguely familiar name.
I cannot see you getting this.
I do believe
He
he
was
did
act-
race under the Nazi flag.
Right.
Yes, he did,
Challenge
yeah.
accepted.
I think you're going to end up furious. I have a best F1 qualifying position of 31st.
That's impressive.
Jeez.
The last people to qualify so badly were in a Honda-powered McLaren.
This is true.
Right.
I remember 60 place.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
You didn't give me a guess, did you?
Yeah, Carl Gall.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear. I was too busy being hilarious.
You must have done it with your mic off then.
In my sole season in Formula One, I finished 58th in the championship.
Christ.
I mean, if you finish 58th in the championship, that really makes that 31st qualifier stand out, doesn't it?
That's pretty solid. That's solid Q2, isn't it?
It's a mid-grid position.
I didn't know Haas had German ancestry.
I made my
are you the Wilhelms F1 team?
I made my debut at the 1953 German Grand Prix. A heavy German theme here.
Very much so.
It proved to be my only race in Formula One. I'm guessing I'm guessing I qualified 31st.
I finished that year's championship in 58th.
I would love a guess.
I'm not inspired.
No, I mean my knowledge of F1 one-hit wonders goes about as far as Stefan Sarazan or Marcus Winkelhock.
Oh,
This would have been a good Statman one.
he'd have got it probably 3 clues back.
Yeah, I mean, is there a guess? Is at all?
Marcus Winkelhock Senior.
Right. Grandpappy Winkelhoff. Got it. In 1956, I died of a brain tumour.
Well, that's a nice happy clue to start this next set on.
I mean, it's
You
not how
had-
they generally died in that era, so
He only did one.
less
He only did-
fire.
He only did one race, so
Yeah.
he obviously didn't have the fire installed.
But what was that first clue again?
I won 8 German Motorcycle World Championships between 1930 and 1938.
Was there something after that about being something about the BMW 328?
Yes, I was
That
the key
didn't-
developer of the 328.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't developed until the 70s.
I'm reading them out.
I think it was
I
sort of
know
key
nothing.
in the development of, wasn't it? It wasn't actually designed.
Yeah, designed a tire, built the first wheel. Where am I? I was one of the original founders of the car company Veritas.
Okay.
Right?
Veritas means truth, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, which was ironic because Robert Kilroy Silk set up a political party called that.
After being kicked out of UKIP.
And oddly enough, for that section of television, they managed to find somebody even more hateable to fill it in. Your man,
What?
it was quite something.
What, Trisha?
No, that was swapped out for your shouty man, wasn't it?
Oh, Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah, like they really outdid themselves there on the fucking cunt catalogue. In my only F1 race, I finished 34th, being the first to retire. I can't help think that we're taking some of the other clues and changing them slightly, because that
Yeah, a
doesn't
little
feel like
bit.
it's helped you at all. Number 10, I hold the record for the shortest F1 career, lasting only 2 meters as my fuel pump failed at the start.
Oh,
I
I know this, and I
this,
can't remember the
I
guy's
can't remember
name.
the name.
So
I'm excited.
So presumably,
expect that.
if he was 58th in the championship, that was because he only did the one race, and there were 58 total drivers in the year, but only 34 in the race he took part in.
Yes, you would have
My-
thought so.
Yes.
My surname, I'll give you one that might help. My surname sounds like somewhere you might keep your Christmas tree.
Wolfgang Top of the Wardrobe?
No.
I assume we're looking at like a loft or an attic.
It's clearly loft.
Yeah.
Yeah, loft or attic, isn't it?
Yeah. And I like the fact that by saying Christmas tree, I'm also keeping it dead German as well. You might get you loft. If I was to pronounce it wrong, I might say.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I know
try and
this.
be a
I know the
dickhead.
tale of chap who barely got off the line, but
Yeah.
I cannot remember his name. I'm guessing it's Luft from.
might say, if I spoke hard, I might say I'm just going to go up on my Luft.
Hans Luft.
Ernest.
Ernest Luft.
Yeah.
We were well beaten on that one.
Totally and utterly. Was that...
He was also famous for his biscuits.
Was he
the
now?
Luftwaffe.
Oh, Christ. That...
I just need to hang around people in person and more. That's all. It's gone on too long now.
We'll be out this time next week. The promising us. Thank you for that. Was it Dylan you said that sent that one in?
It was still a thank you very much, mate.
Yeah,
We were well beaten on that one.
totally and utterly destroyed. How do you send a total shunt in?
If you would like to send me a total shunt, you can send it to me on Twitter at a total shunt in a personal message, or on Instagram at a total shunt in a personal message. And I need you to do it and ping them at me because they're getting all mixed up. I should really start a separate thing for them, like a separate social media account to send them to.
If only your actual handle wasn't at a total shunt.
Yeah.
You could set up another one at a total shunt shunts.
Could do.
You can also send them to me for the backup list for shows where Lee's gone stir crazy. 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, and that's the general email address to get in touch with the show as well. Also, get us on the
But in general, I do need more shunts now since the new year starts. So to get them in quicker, get them sent in to my accounts.
I've got 4 left, so we're okay. We're okay for now on the emergency ones. Just don't have 5 weeks off.
I don't intend to.
You can also get us on the usual socials places, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, all at 3legs4wheels. And individually on Twitter we are
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
and at Pablo100. If you want to get the show a little earlier than normal and get some extra stuff when life returns to a bit more of normality, and support us at the same time, you can sign up on Patreon from $1, £1 or €1 a month, and you just go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels. Sign up there. You will get the show earlier on a Monday night or Monday afternoon if you're the other side of the pond. And I think that's probably about it, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, looking forward to it, but there's not a lot to say about it just yet.
Not at the moment. It's been an odd start to the season with the break. We'll be on Discord all over the weekend if you want to chat. We'll be on text chat during the race, and might do something with voice chat later on during the weekend. Also, I've not plugged this enough apparently. If you're into iRacing, we've got a league going. Drop us a line and I can send you all the details of how to get involved with that. We race every Sunday night at 8 o'clock UK time. A variety of cars, variety of circuits, and every other week we do a Skip Barber F2000 race. A lot of fun, it's a great crowd, and we're even doing some endurance events coming up soon. So if you want to get involved, give us a message. And just before we go, actually, I just want to give a shout out to long-time listener John O'Mills, who has signed up for a full season of GT Sport racing, designed some liveries, and he's got 3legs4wheels as his main sponsor on the car.
Oh, ace.
So you can follow him, John OGT, on Instagram, and see how he gets on during this season in the 3legs4wheels mobile. That'll be a good one to watch out for. Right, I think that's it. We're done. Done for now. We'll be back next week with hopefully a review of a damn good race.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.